It's another beautiful and busy Monday. Of course, this is Business Edge, and you are welcome to International Business News. My name is Lekan Onabanjo. We start off in Europe, where the UK's inflation seems to have reached a new four-decade high, above 9% in May, underscoring the challenge for the Bank of England as it threatens faster interest rate increases in response. A week after a surge in U.S. consumer prices prompted an accelerated 75 basis point hike from the Federal Reserve amid spasms in global financial markets, while the median prediction of economists for inflation on Wednesday anticipates an increase to 9.1%. One estimate by Natixis SA suggests an outcome of 10%. The BOE reckons the peak later this year will be slightly above 11%. Meanwhile, Britain's energy regulator has proposed new measures to protect consumers and prevent energy suppliers from charging high direct debit payments as households struggle to meet soaring energy bills. More than 25 suppliers collapsed last year, squeezed by record high wholesale energy prices. The changes proposed on Monday included limits on payments billed via direct debit to ensure credit balances do not become excessive, Ofgem have said. The proposed package also includes rules to protect the money of users when a company fails and customers are moved to a new supplier with credit balances, ensuring households do not have to pick up the bill. Now, Germany must reduce natural gas consumption and increase the burning of coal in order to help fill gas storage facilities for next winter. German Economy Minister Robert Habeck has announced on Sunday as the country moves away from reduced Russian gas supplies. This means that gas consumption must fall further, but more gas must be put into the storage facilities. Otherwise, things will really get tight in winter. Germany is heavily reliant on Moscow's gas to power its homes and heavy industry, but has managed to whittle Moscow's share of its imports down to 35% from 55% before the start of the war in Ukraine. But I'll tell you that a sharp bounce back in air travel from the pandemic will allow global airlines to narrow losses this week and this year and possibly claw their way back to profit in 2023. An industry body said as it upgraded widely watched forecasts. Global airlines are now expected to post a $9.7 billion loss in 2022 in a sharp improvement from a revised $42.1 billion loss in 2021, the International Air Transport Association said. The 2022 forecast is nearly $2 billion better than an earlier expectation of a $11.6 billion loss. Last year's losses also improved on an earlier forecast of $52 billion. The airlines meeting in Qatar have warned high oil prices and inflation risk denting the fragile recovery. Those are the international business stories. Now we go for a break. When we return, we have more conversation for you. The conversation continues on Business Edge and on Money Mondays. Keeping money in general is on the agenda. And we'll be talking to personal finance professionals about ways to put a little extra money in our wallets. And joining me this morning is Temilola Adeyemi, Senior Research Analyst at Money Africa with experience in financial analysis, planning and advisory. Temilola, let's talk savings formula. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So now, for many people, earning a salary or a wage or making profit from a particular business is said to be something that they all consider. Now, it's a way to afford the process of living costs. But then I'd like to know, are there supposed to be some ways whereby we can create savings from this particular channel?
All right. So one of the basic ways which you can actually save or invest towards your future is that it's going to be definitely through what you earn. If you're a salary earner or you're a business person. But then other ways in which you can actually create saving for yourself is probably through gifts from your family and friends. But then the truth is you cannot actually put your future in the hands of anyone, not the employer, not the government, not your family. Any of them can fail you at any time. And that is why it is important that either you are a salary earner or you are a business owner or whatever thing you are doing as your means of survival, you must be able to create either a saving plan or an investment plan from it.
So we have issues of inflation, paying of taxes, responsibilities, and demands cropping up. And many people will say that, oh, they can barely save or even cover their expenses. So tell us, how then do you think they can save for the rainy day when there are so many financial expenses and financial stresses that people go through?
Right. The number one thing is that a lot of people need to first check why I'm going to tag budgeting, right? You have to first track your expenses. What are the exact thing that you are spending on? A lot of times, some people find themselves spending beyond their means, right? So you can imagine somebody scrolling through the internet, maybe through Instagram, and then land on maybe I'm using a woman as an example now. Land on a particular Instagram page that they are selling wigs or something, and like moment is that you avoid buying it because that is actually what we call impulsive buying, right? So money on necessary, spending money, either this money is sufficient to take care of your needs or not. Now, another thing that is important is if you realize that the money you are earning cannot actually take care of you, then you might consider increasing your income, right? You might consider taking off a side hustle or maybe having a side business that can actually cater for your needs. So there is no excuse to say because there is inflation, then you have to live below inflation, because inflation presently as at last month stood at 7%. And hardly will you find any bank or any institution that is going to give you that same rate, right? So you need to actually stand up for yourself and ensure that you are creating a means of survival for today and for the future.
So tell me, we have actually heard of the 50-30-20 rule. Can you actually break that down for us?
So the 50-30-20 rule is an American concept, and it's simply saying that 50% of your spending should go into needs. I mean, the things that you cannot do without. Your feeding, your transportation, the fueling of your generator, if you're the type that works from home, or data, even if you use data actually, apart from you using data to chat your friend to solve the internet, you might actually be using it for your work as well. So the things that you cannot do without, the necessity, the basic, right? Then 30% should go into your wants, right? Because especially if you are living in a city like Lagos or Abuja, you want to enjoy yourself. So when you're talking about wants is going into fun, going into things that you can actually avoid. You can, going into things like Ashwebi, right? So when it comes to Ashwebi, now I want to quickly dash into that. When it comes to Ashwebi, you can actually avoid buying Ashwebi every time. You can decide to actually go for something that you have at home that is nice, and we package something, a small gift for the bride. So there are ways in which you can actually cut down expenses from such budgets, right? So the 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% should be for your savings, your investing, or your debt. The reason why I said debt is if you have debt, it is not advisable that you actually dash into investing when you have actually not cleared your debt. So you might decide that, okay, we discourage going for debt when you can actually save. So what we advise is 20% should go into savings or it should go into investing. And if at all you have debt, ensure that you eliminate your debt first before you start investing.
All right, thank you, Timmy. Now, we also understand that we have issues with VAT payment, we have issues with commission charges and some other charges by banks. So what are the factors to consider when one is looking at saving in banks and financial institutions?
Well, simple is high return comes with high risk, right? So if you're investing in bank, you are sure that to a large extent your money is safe. I mean, the traditional banks like the First Bank, Zenith Bank, UBA, GTB, and all that. Right? You know that your money is safe with them, and there is an institution body that actually regulates that, which is the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, which ensure that if anything happens to the bank, all your money is not lost. So what they give you in return for keeping money with them is not something so much, right? Because the risk of keeping money with them and you losing it is low compared to you saving with fintech companies. And that is actually where you can actually get high yield saving interest. Like there are some of them that pays interest as high as 10%, right? So when you are actually considering putting your money in bank, you have to consider the rate attached to saving in that particular either fintech bank or traditional bank. Are there any regulatory body that is actually controlling that bank? Is your money insured? Are you sure of what they're actually using your money for? Because there are a lot of them outside there now. Some will claim that they are going to invest your money and give you 15% return. Anybody that's going to give you a rate that is higher than whatever is higher than the inflation, the long-term inflation, which is 10% in Nigeria, anybody that's going to give you that, you must ask question of what you're going to use your money for. Don't just let the rate be attractive to you. It's better that you be in between, when I say be in between the low and the high, to be on the safe side.
All right, finally, Temilola, there's also this practice of saving in foreign currency, and we've also seen in recent years those putting their monies in cryptocurrency. So are these viable means of saving too?
Okay, so I usually advise my clients that if you are going to have an investment in anything that will take sleep from you, then you have to reconsider it. Number one thing you need to first discover about yourself is going to be, what's your risk appetite? Are you a risk taker, or are you a risk averse? Are you risk averse? So you have to understand the category you fall. And if at all you want to put your money in cryptocurrency, ensure that either you have it in a stable coin, even though last month one of the stable coin crashed, which is UST, which is attached to Luna, So there are a lot of volatility in these cryptocurrency markets. But if at all you want to have a percentage of your portfolio in cryptocurrency, then let it be that is in a stable coin like the USDT, or is in another near stable coin like Bitcoin. Avoid putting your money in new coins because somebody is hyping it, say, going to do so well in the future. In foreign currency. So that is being rolled, not advertising for them, but there are other places that you can actually put your money in without you exposing yourself to the risk of cryptocurrency. But what is important is that understand what your risk appetite is and plan accordingly.
Thank you so much, Temilola, for joining the conversation this morning.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So there you have it. If you are hoping to save your money, if you are thinking of where you should save your money or on what investment you should put your money into for better returns, of course, you need to understand the basics, know the amount you want to save. Maybe it's the 50, 30, 20, and know the kind of investments or the kind of institutions you would like to put your money into so that you are sure at the end of the day that you have enough money in the bank or in the reserve whenever you will need to use it. And that is it on this particular segment of the discussion on Business Edge. We take you through Business 101. Do stay with us. We have more for you. So before we wrap it up on Business Edge this morning, do not forget that we will be taking you through the stories that we are tracking on a business this morning on NC4 to watch. We start by telling you that according to the World Bank Group, Nigeria's and other low and middle income countries' public debt has reached a 50-year high, accounting for more than 200% of government revenues. The Washington-based bank claimed in a recent research titled Raising the Bar on Debt Transparency that several nations were facing tremendous issues in fulfilling their debts due to the pandemic-induced economic downturn the impact of the war in Ukraine, and the rise in the interest rates. Let's also tell you that the Nuclear Power Plants Authority is studying the establishment of small, peaceful nuclear reactors to produce electricity with a minimum capacity of 10 megawatts and a maximum of 300 megawatts. The NPPA have concluded and conducted other studies, including the establishment of other nuclear power plants in the Nujaila area other than the Daba plants, which is currently under development, as an official in the NPPA has revealed. Now, Amazon is planning to expand into 5 countries across Africa, Europe and South America, while maintaining its base in the United States. The 5 countries are Belgium, Chile, Colombia, Nigeria, and South Africa. Amazon, which currently runs in 20 different countries, is investing in long-term growth while it scales up its US-based outlet. It said the timing of the rollout in a detailed timeline will be between 2020 and the year 2023. Finally, oil prices edged lower on Monday, reversing earlier gains as concerns about slowing global economic growth and fuel demand outweighed worries about tightening supplies. Brent crude futures slipped 3 cents to $113.09 a barrel by 05:15 GMT after rising as much as 1% earlier. Front-month prices tumbled 7.3% last week, their first weekly fall in 5. And those are the stories that we're tracking on NC4 to watch. Back to Tolu now.
Thank you so much, Lekan, and we will be wrapping things up here. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can, of course, download our mobile app, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and watch us on the platforms we are available. And don't forget to stay with us throughout the day. We'll be bringing you the latest in business from here on the continent, with African business, the economy, and finance taking center stage. At the top of the 12 o'clock hour West African time, News Central Now comes your way. Blessings Mosugo is standing by to give you all the latest from here on the continent.